Hanging on to old energy. Bad, bad, bad idea. I saw, I was watching some video and I was reading comments. And I cannot tell you how many people I saw that were talking about, particularly the one that got away, the one that um, they haven't seen for years, that they, uh, hope to see again, that they can't wait to reunite with. Some of them were really hanging on to this energy. I mean, to the point where they couldn't start anything new because they were so wrapped up in that energy. And this happens for several different reasons. For one, it's an ending that wasn't clear cut enough, that didn't end clean. Maybe the person moved, maybe whatever the circumstances are. There's many times where there isn't a clear-cut ending, a door slam and you're out of here. There is no clear-cut, no, I don't want this relationship, or no, I'm not going to come back to you. Or, communication is a big one. But sometimes things end like that when it's beyond our control. But if something ends, regardless of how it ends, you have got to do everything that you possibly can to let it go. Let it go. And I mean, do the healing work. Look at it, process it, go inside, go quiet, work with whatever feelings you're feeling. If you want to cry. If you want to beat up a pillow. Do whatever you need to do to clean out the emotions that you're feeling. The next thing you want to do is you want to do a spiritual cord cutting, and you want to do a protection. And I have a video on that in my shop, and I'll try to remember to link it here, but if I don't, it's spiritual cord cutting and protection. And basically that's where you energetically go into a meditation, or just close your eyes and breathe and imagine there's a cord between that person and you, an energetic cord, and it's attached, and you want to cut that cord. You want to detach yourself visually from that person's energy. The other thing you want to do is, I recommend getting rid of pictures, letters, things that are in the physical, maybe things that they bought you, things that are in the physical that you're hanging on to. They need to go away. They need to be gone. Okay? We as a society have put so much emphasis on keeping memorabilia. I know in my family, I had the most precious grandmother in the world. And she kept everything. If it was a little tiny Post-it note with a scribble on it, she kept it. She was known for keeping every letter, every note, every picture, every newspaper article. Oh, I mean, she was like the paper queen. And for her, like, I would have never guessed that in the end, she passed several years ago. She was like 102. And I would have never guessed that her entire life's work, which was tracking and maintaining family history and memorabilia, uh, she was a housewife. She worked in our family business, and that was like her hobby. That was her thing. And when she died, I have no idea what happened to all her stuff. No idea. She was, and I think she knew that that was going to happen because she sent me copies of like everything, which after she died, for many years, I kept all this stuff and kept all this stuff. And I had like a big trunk, and it was a complete burden to me. I felt burdened every time I looked at this trunk, and I never opened it, and I never went through the stuff that was in it. I mean, once every 10 years, maybe. And I finally detached myself from all of it. Some of it, I got rid of all of it. I got rid of all of it. And I do have one family member who is very into our genealogy, which I was able to take a lot of that stuff to send to her. She really enjoys it. She likes to do that. I do not think it's a good idea on a spiritual level to hang on to that stuff. You know, if you are into family history, if you are into genealogy, if you are, actively doing something with that stuff, then, family history, that's one thing. But if you're hanging on to pictures of old boyfriends, old girlfriends, the stuffed animal that they bought you at the fair last year, all that kind of stuff, I think that is a form of hanging on to that energy. And I don't advise doing that. The best thing you can do is get rid of it. Get rid of the pictures, get rid of the memorabilia, get rid of letters, things like that. Here's the deal. You're going to meet somebody new. And when you meet that new person, you're going to be hanging on to all that stuff that nobody's going to look at. Nobody's going to care about. So clean it up. Get rid of it. Thinking about the person all the time. When you have a separation with somebody, whether it's a family member or siblings, parents, cousins, whatever, boyfriends, girlfriends, ex-husbands, ex-wives, there is a period of time where you think about them pretty regularly. It's kind of a habitual thing. I mean, they've been in your life for who knows how long, and it takes a while for those memories and the daily thoughts or the hourly thoughts even to go away. But you have to let them go. It's fine if you're doing it for a period of time, but if you find that you're a year out of this relationship and you're still thinking about this person every couple hours, cord cutting, protection, and really work on letting that energy go. Make sure you've gotten rid of all those physical items. If you have a t-shirt that reminds you of this person, or something in your house that belonged to them, get rid of it. Get rid of it. You can't move forward into a new life. You can't live your life if you are hanging on to other people. You can. Now you can. I'm going to correct that. You can do it, but you will not ever find fulfillment in the new things that have come into your life. You will constantly be comparing the new to the old, and you'll be thinking about the old, and you're doing a disservice not only to yourself, but you're doing a disservice to the new too. Especially if we're talking about a relationship. How can you expect a relationship to thrive and grow if you're hanging on to energy that is no longer in your life, that is gone and has been gone for quite some time? And I think this is a pretty common thing, but I'll tell you, the other thing is that this is actually kind of a demon tactic too. Demons will do this. There's what they call shapeshifter demons. And if you're involved with somebody who has this type of demon and you break it off with them, or they break it off with you, depending on the circumstances, or maybe there was no breakup and it was just ended. If they had this particular type of demon, you will be affected. Like it puts a thing in you that makes you hold on to that energy, to miss that energy, to long for that energy. Even though that energy may not be good for you, obviously not if it's demon involved. It's not a good energy. So that right there is a number one reason not to hang on to old energy. You need to do spiritual protection. You need to cut the cord. And you need to do it pretty regularly. Don't do it once and think that it's all okay. You need to train your mind to not think about this person, and you need to forgive and forget in your heart. Now, the reason I say forgive and forget is because once you forgive, really forgive, I mean, you can say, I forgive this person for whatever it was that they did, and I wish them well. But that doesn't mean that you actually did do that. So you'll know, like, you can do that. Do it. The more you say that you forgive them and let them go, the more solidified that will become. But you will know when you have truly forgiven this person when you forget what they did to you. Now, you might be able to recall it if you think back and go, well, why was I mad at that person? What was the situation? And you may be able to bring it up. But honestly, I don't think it's important that you do that. If you initially just think, God, I can't even remember why we don't talk anymore, you know you have completely forgiven. And that doesn't mean call them up. It doesn't mean remember why. It doesn't mean anything other than you have honestly forgiven that person. So these things are repetition. These things are things that you need to do on a fairly daily basis in the beginning, if not a couple times a day. When you have time, you're just, hanging out, relaxing. Maybe it's a lunch break, or, maybe you're just sitting on the patio at night. Close your eyes, imagine yourself, imagine this other person, imagine the cord that is attached between you, and imagine cutting that cord. Do this on a regular basis, especially at the beginning. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a family member, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if it's somebody that has passed as well. You may love this person. You may have had nothing but love for the person. You may miss them. You may have really admired them during their life. But you still need to cut the cord, because it is an energy that you no longer need. If they've passed on, then they are released from this life. So you're actually doing them a service by letting them go and releasing their energy. So even if it's through death, natural, accidental, it does not matter what it is. Practice letting that energy go. Practice releasing the person, and that is true of an alive person too. If you're hanging on to energy, if you're hanging on to a relationship that you had, or some friendship that you miss, and you'll know how much you're hanging on by your thoughts and your feelings. But you're not only doing a disservice to yourself by hanging on to that energy, you are also doing a disservice to the other person by hanging on to that energy. If it's over, it's over. Cord cutting, protection, releasing, letting go. That doesn't mean that this person at some point in time might not come back into your life. They may not. And if they do, it will be a completely different set of circumstances. So that makes it important to release the energy as well. Because we grow and we change and we learn and we become more mature and we have better thoughts and we have better experiences. And even if that person comes back into your life, they're not going to be the same energy that they were when they were in your life in the first place. So cut that energy out. That's gone. It's over with. That whole energy experience is no longer. So you can safely let it all go. And if for some reason 20 or 30 years from now it comes back to you, okay, now it's a different circumstance, different energy altogether, and you can start fresh. But during that period of time, that 20 or 30 years that person wasn't in your life, you lived free of that energy. And that's what's important. And that person was able to live free of your energy. You don't want to hang on to all that energy. You want to let it go. And that is the only way that you can live your life free. And if you suspect that it is demon related, that you don't want to think about this person, and you are thinking about this person pretty consistently, maybe even obsessively, then you're going to want to find somebody who works with this energy, who can, assist you in removing that energy. There's a bunch of different ways that can be done. Make sure that whoever you go to has a good reputation, that they understand the circumstances, and that they're compassionate about the situation. But not my area. Anyway, let it go. Let go of that energy. Let go of anything that is old, anything that's past, anything that is over. I for years hung on to friendships, family relationships, love relationships. I had one situation where it was very much demon. And I didn't realize that until many years later. And once I found out, I've actively worked to stop any intrusive thoughts or feelings, or so it's pretty common. Believe it or not, it's pretty common. And as we go through this spiritual awakening and this spiritual warfare, that's going to become more common. So you really want to focus on letting that energy go. And nothing negative will come from letting that go. Only positive. So don't think, oh, I can't let that go because, what if they come back 30 years later? Doesn't matter. They can still come back. If the universe wants that energy in your life, it will put that energy in your life. You don't need to worry about whether or not you should hang on to it. You need to let it go. The other thing is, sometimes letting it go heals it and actually brings it back in a healthy way. I don't want to say that in this circumstance, really, because you don't want to try and let go to get it back. You want to honestly let it go so that whatever the universe has in store for you can come in for you. And the same thing for the other person. Whatever the universe has in store for them, let them go. Let them go. If you loved them, you will release them. That is the bottom line. And I hope that you are able to do that. And if you've had a hard time with letting it go, or you've had a really easy time with letting it go, leave some comments down below and let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks.